Thank you very much. First, I want to thank Dana for inviting me to come. And secondly, Alan Green, who, since I arrived here, he sort of asked me if I'd like to be on the board of directors, nominated me, elected me, and now I'm the first dentist on the ACAM board. My history is going back. My practice was built on my relationship with doctors like you. Michael Schachter is my friend, and his office is right next door to mine. I work with Warren Levin, Robert Atkins, Ronald Hoffman. Going back in those days, it was related to mercury, chronic infections, periodontal disease, and I took care of the dental aspect, and when I needed support for restoring health, I relied on those doctors. We had some success. You know, it was also the days where we did cavitation surgery, and we had successes and we had failures. Never really sure which patient would benefit and which wasn't. Now, I've become really interested in sleep over the last few years, and that seems to be the missing link. So what I would like to do is get you excited about sleep and getting excited about working with dentists and other healthcare practitioners. So I have no commercial support, and I don't represent any company. But I do have two organizations that I created and founded. One is the American Academy of Physiological Medicine and Dentistry, which is a group of all kinds of healthcare practitioners focused on an interdisciplinary approach to airway and sleep problems and to raising awareness about these issues. And the second one is the Foundation for Airway Health, which is a public organization doing the same thing. So today our learning objectives are to recognize people who have airway sleep disorders, understand the different ways that these are presented, and to understand the connection between sleep disorders and the effect on the inflammation and the immune system, and most important, learn about the benefits of collaborative care. So I have some questions. Who sleeps more than 7 hours a night? Raise your hand. Who sleeps less than 7? Who sleeps less than 6? Who snores? Who gets up at night to go to the bathroom? Who treats children in their practice? Very good. So, Greg? This is what a severe sleep problem looks like. Can you play that, Greg? Okay. Well, this would be a person. Go ahead. And they're going to show a little diagram of what happens . And what they're showing is the collapse of the oropharynx where the tongue falls back and is blocking the airway. And the brain sends a signal, there's a problem, and then he wakes up. remember that picture. So again, so in your practice, how many of you screen on a routine basis for airway sleep issues? Good. That's better than most groups. How many of you recognize the at least 50% of the patients in your practice who have airway issues? Because if you add up all the sleep problems from daytime sleepiness to snoring, insomnia, upper airway resistance syndrome, and OSA, 50%, at least 50% of the patients that you see on a daily basis have a sleep problem. Do you order sleep tests? How many order sleep tests, home sleep tests? That's great. And how many order overnight tests? Dana, you're great. You're getting 100%. And how many of you refer to other healthcare practitioners, dentists? How many refer to dentists? That's wonderful. So this is from Guyton's book on physiology. He says that all chronic pain, suffering, and diseases are caused from a lack of oxygen at a cellular level. This is a quote by one of the pioneers in sleep medicine. He said, if sleep does not serve an absolute vital function, then it is one of the biggest mistakes evolutionary processes ever made. When I was a kid, I never understood why we would have to sleep 1/3 of our life. It seemed like an incredible waste of time. These are some of the airway sleep problems that exist. You probably are familiar with most of them. Now we're going to talk a little bit of focus mostly on obstructive sleep apnea. Basically, obstructive sleep apnea is when the number of AHIs, which are the number of times you stop breathing, one stops breathing for 10 seconds or has a oxygen desaturation of 4%, and it occurs more than 5 times an hour, it's mild apnea. So 5 to 14 would be mild, 14 to 30 would be moderate, and over 30 would be severe. Upper airway resistance is what is often missed. That is when you don't qualify to have apnea, because if you're sent for a test, you don't have 5 apneic episodes. But what you do have is greater respiratory effort, which means that your sympathetic nervous system is having these arousals, could be hundreds of times a night. And so it's often missed. The symptoms you would see would be headache, fatigue, low energy, cold hands and sleep. Usually the person would say they're a light sleeper, they toss and turn all night, and they never get refreshing sleep. And basically because they're continuing to get the sympathetic arousal all night, their brain and their body never rests. And so what happens is it gets confused with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, migraine headaches, and depression. These are so many of the patients that many of you see in the practice with their chief complaint. We have had very good results when we incorporate looking at sleep with these patients, and I think that dentists and physicians working together could really help a lot of these people.